Are harmless drugs really harmless? Restlessness, difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, uncontrollable shaking, headaches, changes in sex drive or ability, dry mouth, stomach pain, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, loss of appetite, aggravation, cardiovascular issues, and weight loss. What do these things remind you of? When I hear these words, I think of drug abuse. I especially think of Adderall abuse. Adderall is a common name around campus. A majority of college students know exactly how Adderall is abused. Maybe there is a test they need to cram for, or a 10-page paper due by midnight. What's the harm in taking a little pill every once in a while? Adderall is a drug that gets abused way too often, but what no one knows is how Adderall abuses you. This is Adderall. How harmful could it be? Well, let us take a look at how Adderall works and compare biochemistry in brains that Adderall is recommended for and those that it is not. Adderall is thought to stop the reuptake of chemicals such as norepinephrine and dopamine. While being prescribed, Adderall is typically meant to help patients with the inability to focus. Adderall inhibits the reuptake of dopamine, so that means the two need to be able to act like each other. How? Well, Adderall has similar chemical properties to dopamine, so Adderall can act as an imposter. Let us look at dopamine and Adderall side by side. In both molecules, there are permanent dipoles, the ability to act via London dispersion forces, dipole-dipole interactions, and hydrogen bonding. They are roughly the same size, both with a 6-carbon ring. Adderall mimics dopamine. In the biochemical world, these two molecules are very similar. This is dopamine in the brain. When dopamine is released by a neuron, it stimulates another neuron, giving the excitement effect. After this, dopamine returns to the neuron it came from and is recycled to be used again, also known as a process called reuptake. So why is Adderall bad? What are the long-term effects? Why does it matter Adderall can mimic dopamine? Over time, the Adderall, if being abused, will potentially destroy your brain. Adderall can block reuptake, meaning the dopamine is not recycled, meaning your brain cannot release the dopamine again. Abusing Adderall can rob your brain of dopamine. This is also how addiction forms. The user feels he or she needs more of the drug to get the effects of Adderall. This is true. The user's brain is not releasing the same amount of dopamine as it used to because the user would never recycle all of the dopamine released. Adderall inhibited this outcome. The user takes more Adderall, resulting in progression of this problem. This only results in more dopamine depletion, resulting in many harmful repercussions. So maybe taking the harmless Adderall isn't such a great idea after all. Let us all agree on one thing. There are harmful drugs out there. But for now, let's look at these 3 structures. Let's just real quick point out the similarities. One of these is widely accepted as a very harmful drug. Can you guess which one it is? Methamphetamine is commonly known as meth. I can confidently say that the majority of you believe meth is a very harmful, devastating drug. But look at how similar meth is to Adderall. They essentially have the same exact properties. They are essentially the same thing. They both can participate in hydrogen bonding, dipole-dipole interactions, and London dispersion forces. When abused, Adderall does the same scary thing that meth does. Meth is taken in higher quantities and is always bad. Adderall can be medically prescribed and has positive effects on those who it is medically recommended for. However, look at all 3 of these structures. Let us look at how each is around the same size. Each has a 6-carbon ring. All molecules are polar, and all molecules can participate in hydrogen bonding, have dipole-dipole interactions, and have London dispersion forces. Take from this what you will. You can decide if the risk outweighs your reward. Now you know the chemical argument for why abusing Adderall is not harmless.
Created using Powtoon.